Hey, welcome back to Shadow Shorts. If we've never met before, my name is Jeff Echols. I am a senior advisor and the head of marketing for Shadow Partners. And every weekday, I bring to you a conversation with an expert or thought leader in the realm of innovation for the built environment. Today is no different, but today's, I think, is going to be a little bit different in the subject. But I think it's really, really integral and really important to this whole conversation of innovation in the built environment and how people are innovating. So I'm joined today by Nguyen. He is with Hensel Phelps. He is the director of innovation at Diverge, and we're gonna learn what the difference is between Hensel Phelps and Diverge, how those two are related and what they are. But I've been having a lot of conversations with Ty over the last several weeks about building and fostering a culture of innovation. And this is a conversation you're not going to want to miss because this culture of innovation is something that every organization needs, in my opinion. So, Ty, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you having me on this and looking forward to this conversation as well. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. As we've been talking, I know a lot about what you're working on and how you get your team members involved in what you're working on and in the whole process of innovation. But why don't we start with the relationship between Hensel Phelps and Diverge and your role as the director of innovation? How do these work together, and then how are you pushing things forward?
Sure, Jeff. And I think for us, we realized in the last decade or so, we have a very innovative culture. We coin them our everyday innovators, honestly. And for us, really, in the last handful of years, it's really trying to figure out how we put a focus on it, right? We want to make sure we create a foundation that will truly allow us to innovate. We are innovative, but it's more of reactionary innovation towards tools that we need or just solutions, and it's on the cadence of our projects and our deliverables. But more so today, it's really having that innovative thought process that pushes you into the 10, 15 year, 20-year mark, right? And really, that's truly what Diverge does today is, we are a Hensel Phelps company. And Hensel Phelps, again, 1937 origins in Colorado, and today 9 regions across the country, a very diverse portfolio. We are the largest aviation contractor, in the last handful of years as well. You've probably at some point flown through one of our job sites. But within that, I've been with Hensel Phelps 17 years, and the last 10 have been the director of VDC. And as VDC, it's always kind of, my charge was always to kind of get in front and provide solutions for our projects and our people. And so that transition wasn't hard, I think, to stand up Diverge. But again, with Diverge, it's more of a focus where we look at both internal and external partnerships, and I can definitely talk through some of that. But I think both are very important for us. This last year, it's really been kind of internally facing and making sure we're building this foundation that will truly allow us to innovate. And I can talk through some of the initiatives that we have that's helping build this foundation as well.
Yeah. So I know one question that may come up, and you and I have talked about this because it actually came up in a conversation I was having with somebody else in the industry, another part of the industry. So you've got Diverge, which is a VC, and it's a Hensel Phelps company, as you just explained. And a question that somebody may have is, okay, Hensel Phelps, generations old construction management, a leader, as you said, in aviation and other types of construction. Why do you have a VC? Why are you vetting startups? Why are you looking at internal and external partners um, with an eye towards innovation? Why do you need that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And honestly, Jeff, part of it was, again, I feel that, we've had decades of historic data that shows that we've had early partnerships with the startups, right? And really helped grow them and really expose them to our people, our processes, our owners. And within that process, we really never had a strategy specific to the financial aspect of these startups and their potential, right? And so today, not only are we looking at through Diverge the lenses of are these startups viable for what we need? Is it a solution that we can get behind? Is it scalable? Is it sustainable? I think on the Diverge and the VC side, we're able to look at the financials. Is this a good investment, right? Is this something that we can partner with early? Is this something ultimately at the end of the day, can it exit and give us the return that we're hoping? But I think that is on the radar, but again, I think this last year has been really kind of standing up the foundation. But the outlook with Diverge is yes. I think at some point it's a majority of our focus will be on investments and getting a return, right? Because it is an employee-owned company. It is we don't have a fund really. It's really through the hard work of our people, and we want to make sure we're mindful and not only who we're partnering with, but who we're investing with as well.
Yeah. So when you look at these investments that you're talking about, the startups and others, is the purpose for all of these startups to come in and whether it's technology or robotics or whatever the different companies are, is the purpose to find and invest in startups and in companies that will help your workflow, that will help your output, or does it go broader than that?
It does. It touches on that, and it does go broader. I think for us, first and foremost, I think that on the internal focus, the reality is our people are very innovative. They're always challenging the status quo, right? Whether it's a process or it's a new tool that they need to help them on their day to day. And so, what through Diverge, we want to make sure we're understanding all those things, right? If there's an initiative at one of our projects, one of our regions, we're making sure we support that. We're engaging with the startup or that solution provider, and then we're putting them through our process. And through the process, it makes it really concise, right? I think that the feedback is then very concise that goes back to these solution providers. And then within that, our people, right? They're starting to make sure that we have measurable values of what are our expectations? What are we looking to do through this pilot? What are we looking to do with this startup? And then does it fit an overall strategy, right? So it's not easy, but it's trying to connect all those dots. And so the internal piece for us in the partnering, it's our departments, it's of our business units, our people, our projects, our owners, right? And then there's a faction of that is very external, where I think you touched on it, Jeff. It's the partnership with the startups, right? Making sure we mentor them well, we expose them to the right projects, to the right people, giving them the right feedback, not overburdening them with every feature that we want, knowing that it's got to be strategic in their roadmap as well. And I think
Right.
with many solutions that come in house, we're always asking them to do XXX, right? And sometimes they're like, "Whoa, that's not in our wheel well," but being conscious of that, and that's where Diverge plays in that as well. And then what I've seen today that's changed a ton is really the partnerships with industry, and that's part of this external focus. It's not only with startups, it's with venture capital groups, right, like the Shadow Ventures of the world. It's very symbiotic. Obviously, the investment is well needed, but within that, to grow these startups, we know that the GCs play a large role in that in mentoring and growing these solutions. I partner with a lot of our competitors, right? Because I know the only way we can change and be effective is to partner with industry, and our competitors are industry. And a lot of times we're sharing notes today that more than we've ever have. Our trade partners are obviously very important in this process because many of these solutions are kind of centered on them. And so again, this kind of internal and external kind of push has been something that we're really focusing on, and making a lot of headway this last year.
Well, I think that's really interesting. I mean, you bring the trade partners into the conversation, you bring competitors into the conversation, and I know that there are organizations out there that have maybe an innovation team, right? It's 3 people, it's 10 people, it's whatever, but that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about actually creating a culture. Part of the DNA, I think, of your organization, um, where then that I assume that's probably part of what it takes to say, hey, yeah, we're going to include our competitors in these conversations, our suppliers, et cetera, in these conversations. So, what does it take to build that culture? How do you take the leap to say, hey, we're getting everybody involved in this process?
I think for a long time, yeah, I think especially early in my role years ago, we felt that our tools were our IP, right? It's really, what tools do I have versus my competitors? Today, the realization is that guess what? Everyone's got the same tools. And then we don't have all the resources and manpower to try everything and, create white papers and really, scoring criteria. And so that's one of I think the gravitating things with the GCs partnering up, because we can divide and conquer. We can take these startups, and if it's, one of our competitors working on a robotic and we're working on the same one, sharing notes and growing that robotic group in a way that it's not siloed and it's transparent. And I think with that type of outlook, I think there's more and more people wanting to be a part of that. And even our owners, there's a lot of progressive owners out there that really they want to challenge certain things, and whether it's process or technology, they love having that candid conversation with industry, and that includes GCs, trade partners, and then the VCs. Honestly, they've been great in terms of providing insight and outlook and potential. And so, like I said, a very symbiotic movement where I think
Mhm.
all these different groups getting together and having these conversations and being transparent is very gravitating. I yet to meet anyone that wouldn't want to be part of that type of conversation.
Yeah, and this is a little bit of inside baseball that I'm going to share for everybody, but I also know that Ty is always putting his team forward as well, right? We've got Ty, he's the director of innovation, and he's thinking about all of these things and working on all of these things. But almost every conversation that we have, Ty is looking for ways to get his team involved, even ahead of himself, and I really appreciate that. And from the outside, sort of the fly on the wall, um, I think that's a great demonstration of the autonomy that you have, um, or that you provide for your team, and in my opinion, in my view, that has to spur that innovation, giving them the safety, I guess, to go out and make some decisions and try some things.
No, Jeff, thank you for that. I think within the Hensel Phelps culture, it's very, we empower our people, right? And it's no different with innovation. I feel that myself and my smaller team of three, we are not the ones that are going to provide every innovative idea out there, right? And so this last year, as part of the foundation building, we're standing up think tanks around the country, right? So 9 regions. Within these think tanks, there's going to be a regional leader, and then teams of SMEs that are passionate about challenging the status quo, and everyone's got a great idea. And what we realize, Chef, is you have to be inclusive. Everyone has an idea, and really, our whole thing and what weighs on me is how we respond to these ideas, right? And so through these think tanks, as we stand them up regionally, their task is to go out, solicit ideas that are challenging us on a day to day. And then within that, we're going to partner as regions to figure out how we tackle these issues. And the thing is, I think with us, and it's just getting centered on innovation in general. I think so many people think innovation is just technology. In reality, it's not. It
Mhm.
could be a simple concept or process, right? That you just tweak a few things, and I think a lot of times you may need a solution, you may not, but I think that's just the grounding, that making sure everyone understands that innovation just doesn't need to be technology. It can be just a great idea on process and efficiency. And then within that, again, the things that weighs is making sure that I respond in the right way, and listening and understanding these ideas and figuring out how we scale and make them sustainable. I think for us, that's really behind the DNA, and something that we strive to push forward.
Yeah. Yeah, that's as you say that, it reminds me of two different books. I bring these up every once in a while, but there's a book called "Where Do Good Ideas Come From? The Natural History of Innovation," I think is the subtitle. Stephen Johnson, I think, might be the author of that, off the top of my head. And you say that, and in the book he describes what innovation is, you're right. I mean, he goes all the way back to a time that we would probably think of as pre-technology, and talks about innovation. That's a really good read. And then Carla Johnson has a book. She's actually been on Shadow Shorts before, called Rethink. So RE:think, Rethink Innovation. She talks about building a culture of innovation. I don't know if you two know each other. She's based in Denver, but uh, I think you'd have a great conversation, because what she focuses on and what she works on, I think, is exactly what you're doing at Hensel Phelps
Yeah,
and
that,
Diverge. So
yeah, that would be a great conversation, because obviously you see under Diverge, it's rethinking innovation. So
mhm.
any insight, and I think that's us as well. We don't know everything. We're not the SMEs on everything. That's really been a part of this journey this last year, is trying to get smarter in all fronts, right? And the biggest thing for us is our AIs are people. I mean, the collective,
Mhm.
the experiences. I mean, that's I think for me, it's so, I think, compelling, is really reaching out to our people, because many times they do have the answers, right? And just making sure we listen and react the way we need to.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. If you're listening to this or watching this right now and you say, "Oh, I'd love to hear more. I'd love to get deeper into this topic." Well, the good news is that Shadow Summit is coming up in October. It's our 7th annual Shadow Summit. And it'll be in Atlanta, October 24th to 26th. And Ty, and I think some of his team are going to be at and speaking at Shadow Summit this year. And the topic of a culture of innovation will certainly come up in those conversations. If you've never heard of Shadow Summit or attended before, it is a purposefully intimate affair. 200 tickets maximum because we can't put any more seats in that theater. And it's a highly curated, purposefully curated in terms of topics and also audience. So shadowsummit.com is where you can find more information, and the tickets are going pretty quickly. So you need to go there, go to the top of the page. There's an apply button so that you can apply to be on that list, and you'll get an email on how to purchase those tickets. So join us for that. Meet Ty. Get more into this conversation about a culture of innovation. And also, if you want to know more about Diverge and what's going on there, the URL's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen right now, diverge.vc. You can see what's going on, what Ty and his team are working on, what they're building out there. Ty, first of all, thanks for this conversation. I'm looking forward to the panel and other discussions at Shadow Summit, because I think this is a really important topic. It's bigger than technology. It's bigger than one person or a small team. It's just like in the title, it's got to be a culture.
Right. Thank you, Jeff, for having me on. Fantastic conversation, and looking forward to meeting a lot of you at the Shadow Summit. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. So again, go to diverge.vc for more information about what Ty's working on, and then go to shadowsummit.com for more info on Shadow Summit, October 24th to 26th. And I will be back tomorrow with another one of these Shadow Shorts, another expert or thought leader in the realm of innovation for the built environment. Until then, have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.